This is part 3 of a series of trainings for presenters presenting in person, as well as provide other tips to maximize your presence at the conference. This video will focus on the presentation types and styles. On this slide is an image of the Pacific Rim logo, a gold gradient graphic of the sunrise. The slide title is In-Person Presentation Training Part 3, Topical parentheses 25-minute presentation, breakout panel parentheses 60-minute presentation, and workshop parentheses 2+ hour presentation period. This slide deck can be found at go.hawaii.edu/N capital PY period. On to the next slide. The title of this slide is 25-minute presentation agenda example. This is an example for an 8 a.m. time slot. This type of presentation is a topical session, which is a structured oral speech that provides facts and insights to your audience on an important issue in a lecture style. In a 1-hour time slot, there will be two 25-minute presentations. For the first presenter, at 7:45 a.m. or 15 minutes before your time slot, check in with your room monitor and begin to set up your presentation. At 8 a.m. or the start of your presentation time, start your 25-minute presentation. At roughly 8:20 or 20 minutes after the start of your presentation, you should begin to wrap up your presentation and remind your audience about the survey. At 8:25 or 5 minutes after the start of your presentation, you should begin to break down your laptop to allow the second presenter to set up their laptop. For the second presenter, at 7:45 a.m. or 45 minutes before your presentation time, you should also check in with the room monitor. At 8:25 or 5 minutes before your presentation time, you can start to set up your presentation. At 8:30 or the time of your presentation, you can start your 25-minute presentation. At roughly 8:50 or 20 minutes after the start of your presentation, you should begin to wrap up your presentation and remind your audience about the survey. At 8:55 or 25 minutes after you started your presentation, you should begin to break down your laptop to allow the next presenter to set up their laptop. On to the next slide. The title of this slide is 60-minute presentation agenda example. This is an example for an 8 a.m. time slot for 3 panelists. This type of presentation is a breakout panel session, which is a panel presentation on a specific topic that is part of the broader theme of the conference. Presenters includes 2 to 3 panelists along with a moderator. In a 1-hour time slot, there should be presentations from each panelist rather than a discussion between panelists. Panelists should represent people from different roles, perspectives, and projects. At 7:45 a.m. or 15 minutes before your presentation time, you should check in with your room monitor and begin to set up your presentation. At 8:00 a.m. or the start of your time slot, the moderator should introduce the panelists. At 8:05 a.m., the first panelist should present for roughly 10 minutes. At 8:15 a.m., the second panelist should present for roughly 10 minutes. At 8:25, the third panelist should present for roughly 10 minutes. At 8:35, the moderator should start the 15-minute Q&A or discussion. At 8:50 or 50 minutes after your start time, you should begin to wrap up your presentation, the Q&A discussion, and remind your audience about the survey. At 9 a.m., you should begin to break down your laptop to allow the next presenter to set up their laptop. On to the next slide. The title of this slide is 2+ hour presentation agenda example. This is an example for an 8 a.m. time slot. This type of presentation is a workshop session, which is an in-depth sharing of material with hands-on opportunities and practice. Audience members should leave with a set of new skills and resources for the professional practice. In a 2-hour time slot, workshop presenters should consider at 7:45 a.m. or 15 minutes before your presentation time, you should check in with your room monitor and begin to set up your presentation. At 8 a.m. or during your workshop time, start your presentation and activity. 9 a.m. or 60 minutes since the start of your presentation, consider a 10 to 15-minute break for your audience. At 9:15 or 75 minutes after the start of your presentation, continue the presentation activity again. At 10:10 or 2 hours and 10 minutes after the start of your time slot, you should begin to wrap up your presentation and remind your audience about the survey. At 10:15 or the end of your time slot, you should begin to break down your laptop to allow the next presenter to set up their laptop. On to the next slide. The title of this slide is the presentation styles. This is a new category to give audience members a better idea of the style of presentation you will provide. It also helps to better understand whether they may or may not be asked to participate in discussion. There are 4 different presentation styles. The first style of presentation is research or practice, in which presenters provide the latest findings on a study, data analysis, or best practices. This type of presentation may be technical or information heavy, so the audience will gain new information that contributes to their professional fields. The second style of presentation is fireside chat, in which facilitators or interviewers will host casual and engaging Q&A conversations with participants. This type of presentation will mostly require audience members to engage with others. So audience will participate in back and forth conversations with each other, sharing opinions, ideas, and stories. The third style of presentation is panel, in which a moderator hosts a round-robin lecture with 2 to 3 panelists and facilitates Q&A with participants. These presentations will require the panelists to have a scripted presentation prior to the Q&A discussion, during which the audience will engage with panelists and gain multiple perspectives on an issue. Lastly, the fourth style of presentation is training, in which presenters from a professional group that provides training, certifications, or hands-on activities. Audience will gain skills and methods that can be easily used after the training. On to the next slide. The title of the slide is Additional Presentation Tips. The slide includes the Pacific Rim logo. The first tip is to provide verbal description. So please provide a verbal description of yourself in your introduction. My description that I use and identify with is I am a Native Hawaiian woman with brunette colored hair. I'm wearing a polo shirt from our organization with the Center on Disability Studies logo. The second tip is the room monitors. Volunteers will be available to assist you setting up your presentation the day of the conference. So if you have any questions, please contact the volunteer coordinator, glac@hawaii.edu. The third tip is to monitor your presentation time. Presenters are required to monitor your own presentation times. Consider setting a reminder timer. This helps to ensure all presenters are given a fair amount of time to present. The fourth tip is if there are audience questions, be sure to repeat any questions asked by audience members over the microphone for all to hear. If you have any questions, please contact me at prcall@hawaii.edu. On to the next slide. Mahalo nui loa means thank you very much. This is the end of the third video. Check out part 4 video or the full playlist below. Other videos include information about the space and location, as well as the room setup. All links mentioned in the video are available in the description. And please feel free to contact me if you have any questions at prcall@hawaii.edu.